from NOAA, NOAA's Office of Marine and Aviation Operations.
I see it.
And this is part of the campaign that's being led by NOAA's Office of Ocean Exploration and Research with a number of other NOAA partners, fisheries and sanctuaries. I know I'm leaving somebody else out from NOAA. Oh, NODC, the data center, of course. And then Patty and I are here from universities.
Patty is me. I'm from University of Hawaii, but we also have folks from the University of Guam, the Marine Lab there,
and Underwater World.
Underwater World, you folks sitting there in Underwater World.
At a beautiful Exploration Command Center with a screen that's ginormous.
Half a day, everybody there.
Yes, half a day.
In the Maui Ocean Center.
Ah, right.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm Shirley Pomponi. I'm the biology science lead. I'm a research professor at Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute, which is part of Florida Atlantic University, and also head up NOAA's Cooperative Institute for Ocean Exploration, Research, and Technology.
And now we have a
urchin.
This is our bubblegum coral. Is that correct?
Looks like it.
We have a sea urchin and brittle stars entwined around the arms of the coral.
Back a little.
And the red fan is a paragorgiid.
Partial.
Okay.
Not hearing any in-depth discussion, so I just got a little video of this.
Yes.
You know, yesterday, Patty, when we saw all those broken and dead branches, I wonder if they were all of this paragorgia. Anybody on shore have an opinion about that? If you were on the dive yesterday, there were lots and lots of just dead branches. Just looking at this paragorgia today, it kind of reminds me of what we saw yesterday. Tina Molitsova just joined us. I think she's in Russia. I know she travels a lot. She's from the Shirshov Institute in Moscow. Not sure if she's calling in from or joining the chat room from Moscow or some other location today.
Okay.
And I think we're looking at a brittle star clinging to the rocks. Is that correct?
No, actually, no. It's a sea star. You know, remember the one we saw yesterday with its arms all wrapped around each other?
Okay.
Multi-armed.
Oh, right.
It's a little bit different than the one we saw yesterday.
Yeah, and it
is a coronaster, though. It is a coronaster, but it looks like those the little bubbles and bumps on the top of the arms are a little bit different from what we saw yesterday.
They sure are, yeah.
A little bit different.
I wonder if this is also unusual starfish to find in this part of the world. I
think yesterday when Chris Small was on the line, he said that these are fairly common within this particular depth range. The one we saw yesterday stumped us at first. Well, those of us who are not sea star experts.
We thought it was an octopus.
We did when we first saw it because its arms were very, very long and coiled around, so it didn't look like a sea star at all until we were told it's a sea star, and then it's like, oh yeah, I see that now.
Oh, there's a huge.
Yes, Scott said it looks like the underside of an octopus.
Oh, it's getting close to 10 for max.
What is that?
Well, so far it's been behaving, I must say.
Oh, pilot, would you like me to zoom in on your sonar now that we're...
Oh, yes, please.
30, good with you?
Yeah, pilot, I'm keeping a pretty good delta just because right now the tether's right underneath me.
Yeah, no, that looks perfect. Just keep an eye on that. Don't let me run into it or something.
Yeah.
I have you at 30 meters now.
Okay.
So those of you on shore are listening to our ROV crew also talking to each other, so you'll hear conversations, discussions from between the pilot and the co-pilot and the navigator and the videographer, all working together as a team to get us positioned and get really good imagery. Okay, another bamboo coral.
I just wanted to make a quick mention also that in addition to the coronaster that you're imaging, that sideroid sea urchin that you see on the Paragorgia.
Yep.
In the Atlantic, we were watching those feeding on deep sea coral.
Really?
Very clearly showing their teeth gnawing away at the tissue on it.
Yeah, just keep it
So I suspect that's what you're seeing here, is that sideroid urchin is probably got its spines wrapped around, the oral spines wrapped around
but if you want to go wide, it'll look a little better for a second.
And the jaws are rasping away at the
so tether's pretty much smacking
some
me
of
in
those
the face.
get to be,
look at that.
Quite effective. And there are many shots in the Pearl database of
that's better at 22 and not
sea
wobbling.
urchins climbing up to the top of the branches. It looks very surreal.
Okay, video.
Oh, yeah.
Got the tether tug out.
Coronaster. This was the same one you saw yesterday.
Yeah.
That was the mystery, the red kind of orange carpet-looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're seeing more clearly are all of the spines with all of the little pom-poms, all of the little clusters of pedicelaria around them. So an interesting little scene here with many echinoderms interacting with the prey and the corals and whatnot in the area. So those sideroids, I think, are probably one of the predators that no one suspects until you actually see them.
Yeah.
So their effect might not be completely known.
Oh, well,
so
thanks.
Chris, can you introduce yourself for the people who are listening?
Certainly. My name is Chris Ma, and I'm a scientist at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. I'm based in Washington, D.C. I'm also on Twitter at Echinoblog.
Good. Comps look pretty stable.
I'm a expert, but I know lots about deep sea echinoderms and many other
temperature probes,
invertebrate things. And I'm always happy to call in and offer my input when I can.
I guess it's still the tether. It just keeps kind of
I guess infrequently.
Well, no, it's good. So those little pom poms that are on the spines, are they sensory as well?
Not really aligned at all.
We really don't know a lot about them, other than that they're used in many defensive as defense and for feeding. In a shallow water species, they're used for a variety of functions. They are sort of used to defend against predatory sea stars. They're used to prevent fouling.
We're still exploring this cliff face right now.
There's nothing.
We'll probably get you over here shortly.
They're actually used to feed.
I'll take
And so it's entirely possible that
yes,
that these coronaster sea stars use them in a similar fashion. It's never been shown, but it's often been suggested. So it's not entirely clear what they're for. I mean, there could be a sensory function there, but people tend to focus on a lot of the sort of either feeding or defensive roles that they might have. And I think up until yesterday, we didn't really see a way in which all of those spines and pedicelaria might sort of serve to defend them in a very clear way. Because if they hunker down in these little crevices, then basically they're sort of like sea urchins. They're sticking all of their spines out, and they've got all of these little bitey claws coming out. So watching them again, watching these things alive for the first time, it's fascinating to see how morphology which has been observed since the 19th century. We really are at a loss until we actually see them in situ. And these get to be quite large. This one doesn't look that big, but
the one yesterday was pretty big, right?
Almost 1.5 feet across.
Yeah.
2 feet across. Yeah.
And they can defend themselves. I was reading about it yesterday, but they can defend themselves by detaching an arm, right?
Okay, guys, after the crabs, there was a small yellow colony behind this bamboo.
Yeah.
And we're thinking that the yellow parazoanthid that's growing on this bamboo is not the same as the other one. We think this could be gold coral, Kulamanamana. And there's a colony behind this bamboo that looks like it's a gold coral colony. And it would be really good before we leave this spot if we could zoom in on that.
Do you mean on the other side of the coral that we're looking at that has the
crab on it?
Crabs climbing on it, or just
That's
below
correct. It's on the opposite side of this coral. We had a view of it before he sort of switched around to look at the crab.
Right. Okay.
It's still behind the coral. And that would be very, very useful to document. That is a commercially valuable, precious coral if it is Kulamanamana.
Pilot, did you hear what Chris was suggesting, that after we finish taking a look at the crabs and get some good video here, that we swing back around to look at the yellow coral on the opposite side, which may be a precious coral?
Was it on its own or attached to this?
It might be better to swing around to the left of this bamboo. I think you might get a better view of it.
Swing around to the left to get a better view.
Is it,
okay.
Is it part of the big one, or
is this
standing alone?
Chris, is this part of the big one? Can you hear the pilot?
Oh, I see what he's talking about.
It's about the yellow on the base.
That's growing inside of the large
We
coral.
Imaged that when we first came up on it.
Yellow branches on this one, but there's actually a colony somewhere behind it that we saw earlier that looked like it was a totally overgrown bamboo, and so it's now a complete gold colony.
Okay, well, we'll try to get into position to take a look at that, Chris.
Video, are you saying that we've already imaged that?
Yeah, the only one I've seen is the one that we actually imaged on this very first. It's right there in the center.
Right in the center where you can see that yellow now.
And
you've already imaged on that?
Correct. And
okay.
There's a similar growth
this isn't what
just
I'm
on the back
talking about.
of the ear.
There's a separate colony further on beyond this bamboo.
There's a separate colony?
Look off to the right and left.
So
that's correct. I'm not talking about the yellow that's on the bamboo itself.
Right.
I'm talking about there's a whole yellow small colony behind it on the ground behind this bamboo.
So all the way around the other side. So we have to swing back. I'm not sure we're able to do that, but are we?
Yeah, I'll explore around.
Okay, thank you so much.
I still don't have a clear idea.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's attached to the seafloor now. You can see it below the right arm of the fan. I think that's what Chris is talking about.
That's another overgrown on the existing one.
I think he said there was a separate.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this. An overhang.
I know, it's really cool.
And all the critters are attached to the overhang.
Edges, yeah.
So, wow.
Okay, I'm going to just back up.
This is a fascinating ridge.
So now for those of you who are watching the other camera from the Sirius, you can see that cable. So they're doing this fine dance because the last thing they want to happen.
Get that tangled in the propellers.
No, not only that, but to see where the cable is to make sure it's not going to go.
So
tether management is always a trick.
I have an overview of everything if Chris wants to point out where he saw this.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing it. Maybe I was just seeing this lower branch right here, but I thought I saw a complete colony somewhere, but definitely not seeing it now. So
okay.
Okay, and then that yellow we did get good imagery of, so we can take a look at that later on in the video. Okay, so we're the pilot and co-pilot are maneuvering around to get the best position for the tether.
Yeah, I think we're kind of on top of the ridge now if we want to proceed.
Yes, please.
We need to turn around now if we're going to go towards the waypoint.
So we're about 464 meters, and right now about 29 meters off the sea floor.
Arranged and head that way.
Video, say it again.
Hey, Patty, this is Deb.
Yes, Deb.
I sent out a picture of some of the geology, And Bob who I think can't be on the line tonight.
Are you looking at something
and is having problems following along. Thought that this might actually be volcaniclastic.
Maybe it's possible.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about initially. It looked.
Maybe the bedding is ash.
Yeah, that could be.
Last time I put it towards the showing. Maybe I bumped it and didn't realize I had
that
it.
colony, that yellow one?
I want to move it back down.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. I saw. That would really be worth zooming in on.
Yeah, okay. You did see
watch
it.
lead pilot, if we could please zoom in on that yellow fan.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
And what Deb was saying is what I was thinking initially when we sat down on the seafloor, that what we were looking at might be volcanic, essentially. I was thinking spatter that might have come out of a vent along this ridge on the flank of Mogg Island in the Mariana Island Arc.
We'll get ourselves arranged after this.
Chris, I believe this may be an overgrown one also, as we're getting closer to it.
Yeah, so when I started, I was a little more aft of the boat, but
I see at least two different types of sea stars here. So that this makes three different types that we've seen so far.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
I think you were sheltered from it.
Yeah, that's possible.
Part of it,
They do like to perch on the tops of these cones or whatever these are, these ridges on
white stuff on it.
On the
the
tops of the. Yeah, I'm wondering if these are a buildup of essentially little
pinnacle
burps. Well.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I was thinking little burps of lava that come out of a fissure or a crack on the side of a volcano.
Can't get much closer.
Okay, Chris, is this what you think what you thought it was?
The bottom right-hand section.
Yeah, so I'm 90% certain that this is gold coral. Kulamana Haumea is the name in Hawaii and name right now for it everywhere. It's parazoanthid, and it overgrows bamboo corals, which this one is doing, like the other one. Other types of zoanthids, but Kulamana is very different than most other parazoanthids in that it actually secretes a proteinaceous skeleton. It's one of the only, if not the only, parazoanthid that does that. That other yellow one may have been Kulamana as well, I'm not really sure, but all other parazoanthids are going to just overgrow their colonies with just tissue. They're not actually creating a matrix. And the matrix from Kulamana is precious coral. They can actually take that matrix, that skeleton, and grind it down and polish it up and make jewelry, and it's very, very expensive. Here's the problem. Kulamana can live for thousands of years. A single colony can live for thousands of years, and what we're looking at right now could easily be several hundred years old, even though it's very small.
It's looking like Cirrus is going to go to the northeast.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Pilot, when we're finished with the video, I wonder if we could just kind of pan around a little bit and not zoom out too far. I think that what we're seeing in the rocks are there are black rocks embedded in this material, indicating possibly that when the volcano erupted, right here, it was bringing up chunks of the underlying material, incorporating it in the new magma that was thrown out. That's my guess.
25 now, pilot.
Let's see if Deb Glickson has a thought about this, too.
Just a couple.
Hey, Betty, I completely agree with you that.
Yes, lasers are.
You know, from querying other people on Facebook and having them say maybe it's volcaniclastic, when we zoomed in on that originally and we see those black rocks, several of them in this image, I would lean more towards that than limestone, but pick up a sample, we won't know.
Yeah, it had a very odd texture, didn't it? But I'm wondering if we could really zoom in close on those rocks and see if the white specks on them are encrusting animals, or whether they are what we typically see as small crystals called phenocrysts in the rocks. It's kind of hard to tell whether or not the rocks are covered with any manganese at all that would obscure the actual open or fresh surface. It's hard to tell.
A lot of those white... Sorry.
Here I can't tell.
A lot of those white dots are really tiny sponges.
Yeah,
because I saw some on a rock that we picked up yesterday. Really, really tiny, probably like 5 millimeters in diameter.
Lower left.
I didn't catch that last pilot.
Many of the black andesitic lavas that are erupted from these volcanoes have large crystals of plagioclase. That's the commonest mineral on the surface of the Earth. So we see a lot of crystals of, they look kind of like little rectangular shapes, and they're usually white. So very, very typical black rock with a lot of white rectangular crystals in them. And usually the rock is shiny, you know, kind of glassy. If it is of an andesitic composition, and that's a rock that contains more silica than basalts that are erupted on mid-ocean ridges of the world's oceans. So sitting here on the Pacific Ring of Fire on volcanoes that are pretty explosive, the rock called andesite is very common as an eruptive product for composition for lavas in these areas.
Yeah, we're never going to leave here.
Wow, that was great.
Watch leads, are you...
Thank you, pilot. That was great. We can move along if that was what you're about to say.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, the current's starting to pick up, and
perfect timing.
You can tell by the kind of mess of tether there that we have to arrange ourselves.
Okay.
All right.
You're not going to get that starfish?
No, we got the current's behind me and picking up. Is trying to move me up the hill.
All right, so that's putting a turn. That's fine.
Oh, do I have a full turn?
You have a half a turn.
Oh, yeah.
So you're fine right now.
I should have half a turn. Okay.
Just going to change stream 2 to be HD2 now. It gives some nice geological reference of the area as we're looking down.
Oh, thank you, Roland. This is Deb. That's great.
Okay, I'm facing southeast now, so I have the current to my starboard side now. That's a lot more comfortable.
That's what we expected.
What an incredibly steep drop-off.
Cool, look at that.
Yeah, eventually you should be aimed...
right where he is.
Well, so I guess... I mean, maybe technically... Well,
we might need like a 10-15 meter move.
Yeah.
Over.
Okay.
I can go to this rise here and then see which
Yeah, we're
way
about 4 meters above the rise in the water column, and heading up this incredibly steep ridge. You can see many more animals hanging off the steep side and the overhang. Oh, this is incredible.
Sure.
Wow.
It's like a broken...
This is a great geology shot. What do you think, Deb?
It is awesome. I'm doing screenshots right now. So for those of you who are following along, you should go look at the Sirius view. It's great.
Wow.
If you like that, Deb, you're going to like this one a little bit better.
Oh, Deb's going to love everything, and so am I.
I would need maybe like a 20 meter move.
Wonderful stuff. You know, it's just some...
Yeah, this is a target-rich area, both biologically and geologically.
While you're doing that, co-pilot, maybe if you lift the shilling up a little and move it inside of
it's kind of amazing, you know, when we take one of these vehicles down to the seafloor, every single time you do it, you see something, first of all, that you didn't expect,
where we are now,
but also something that nobody had ever laid eyes on before. Imagery such as this is so critical for understanding what's going on the surface of 70% of this planet that we live on, which is covered with water.
Up now for a ship move. So we're looking at a 20 meter move at 090 bearing and at 0.2 knots.
So, Schilling, you want
so it looks like
this?
if we're going to be looking at any of the animals that are taking advantage of this steep cliff, the pilots are going to have to
I just don't want that to be the
position themselves,
so I think
down a little bit below the summit of the ridge, and then just hover in the water so that we can get close-ups. That's a hard trick to do with the ROV, because they've got to keep control of its position, and often there are pretty strong currents on these ridges.
So we know.
So kudos to our pilots. They're phenomenal.
So I have a question about the bamboo coral and their branches. And so there are all these nodes. And are the nodes composed of proteinaceous material? What's the what's the mineralogy of that skeleton?
Sweet.
All right, saving valve packs.
Thank you. Yeah, now if I bump something forward or port, it'd be all kind of safer.
Yeah. Ramping down, saving HPO.
Right.
Have any thoughts from folks on shore?
How long was that move?
20 meters.
My thoughts are calcium carbonate.
A bit at the end
Of the nodes, the black part in between.
Oh, the black
the
part.
nodes.
Gotcha. I don't know.
The skeleton's going to be calcium carbonate, I would imagine, but are the nodes proteinaceous? I mean, they kind of makes them flexible.
Yeah, that's true. We had a comment here on the chat log that it was kind of surprising that the bamboo corals were flexing so much, because it's assumed that they're pretty stiff.
Yeah, but it may be taking advantage of the fact that there's a current, so they need to be not so stiff that they'll be broken off, but stiff enough to maintain their shape.
Gee, yeah, I wonder if the individual nodes are maybe a little less stiff, so that segments of the branches can wave. I'm just wondering.
I love these cliff faces here. Yeah, sorry.
I'm wondering if we're actually hearing anything from on shore. We've been having a little bit of difficulty with the audio here on the ship.
Yeah, Deb was just talking to us just about 4 minutes ago. When
Thank you.
We were looking at that geology. So
thank you, Roland. Okay, so we do have connectivity. Got another couple of those.
So there's a lot of this that's been stripped off.
Very spiky crabs.
Looks like the
crawling along on these. Very interesting to know that they might be feeding on these poor critters.
No, Roland. Look up there.
Oh, you're talking to those Bersingids.
Oh, you're right.
So is this? Are these is this also Kulamanamana? And if so, would it be good to get a closer view of this, what it looks like in between each one of the polyps?
So we've got little things growing on the segments between the darker bands around the corals. Are those particles?
Hold on a second. Yeah. So Chris and Scott in our chat room indicated that if it was really Kulamanamana, that we'd have to get an image of a larger skeleton with a bare base showing the matrix. So we'll do that.
So where the brittle stars are, sticking their arms up in the air.
Yeah, let's get a close-up of that.
Then we're looking at barnacles along the bottom of that arm. Is that correct?
Yep.
How right.
Yep.
Wow.
Nice little biome. Oh.
What a community.
Yeah, there's an asteroid.
So guys, I think this is a C-star. I don't think this is ophiuroid. And I'm hoping Chris Ma will call in about this, because I don't know what it is.
Those are C-stars, I think. Chris Kelly, is this a good enough view of the encrusting zoanthid for you to get some idea of the matrix?
Yeah, it is. We're still a little, we think it's Coolamana, but as we go upslope, maybe we'll get lucky to see a really old colony where we can see the actual base of a totally overgrown colony, and that would be definitive. But we're definitely leaning toward this being the very beginnings of gold coral formation here. That's what we're looking at. This overgrowth phase, just by tissue, if this is Coolamana, is referred to as the Midas phase. It's in the process of turning this bamboo into gold, and that was coined by Dr. Frank Parrish, who studies these particular corals at NOAA Fisheries.
Thanks, Scott. I mean,
Chris. I just wanted to point out this, this one, sorry, by the way, but this one bamboo coral is just home to so many different types of animals. We've got, the gold, possibly gold coral, Coolamana, overgrowing it. We've also got these, what we think may be brazingids, with their arms extended up into the water column. And there's another type of sea star, as well as a type of ophiuroid, as well as some more of the Rochinia crab.
The crab.
This Rochinia is covered in barnacles. And then there's also some anemones we can see growing on this colony as well as that.
Yeah.
The Canthogorgid, yeah. And then the Canthogorgid as well. I mean, it's just, this one coral is home to so many different types of animals.
Yeah.
Okay, should we get a full shot with lasers?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to go wide, get some lasers on this so you can get an idea of the scale. And again, just as a reminder, the lasers are 10 centimeters apart, so you can tell how massive this bamboo coral is.
Yeah, wow.
And you can also see quite a few of the sea stars that are along the outer branches as well.
Watch lead, any idea how old this would be, being so large?
So the question is, any idea how old this would be? Chris or Scott, do you have any clues?
Video's clear.
Okay.
Not sure.
We have a bunch of people in the UHECC here. Bruce Mundy's wandered in as well.
Oh, good.
So we are having some sidebars here. What was your question again?
How old might one of these bamboo corals be, like that massive one? Any idea? Are we talking about 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, 2 years?
Starting to get a...
That big one is probably several hundred years old.
Several hundred years? Is that what you said?
That's correct.
Wow. Okay, now what we're looking at right now, is this the Coolamana?
Yes, we think so.
So can you tell anything about the matrix from this view?
No, you actually have to look at the bare skeleton, which typically would be near the base, and so the base is hidden by a rock. But maybe, again, we might, if we're seeing a few here, we might see some more on this feature.
Okay.
Can't see the base.
I can also chime in on the brazingids that you're watching on the, is it gold coral?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
This is what's called I'm sorry if you're ready to go. It's a brazingid sea star. Called Novadinia. These are filter. They're unusual, but they are sea stars. They are filter feeders, and what they're doing as you're watching them is they're holding their arms up into the water current, and all of those arrays that you see projecting from the arms are covered with a sock of pedicelaria. This is similar to that Coronaster sea star we saw earlier, except it's much more extreme. And so what they're doing is they hold their arms up into the water, and the little pedicelaria act like Velcro. And as the water carries the little crustacean and other food by them, they get caught, and the animal captures them and moves them down to the oral region where the stomach devours them. So they're predatory, but they're filter feeders. And there's these animals live exclusively in the deep sea from roughly 200-ish meters down to 6,000 meters. And the names are really kind of story-worthy as well, because these are called Novadinia, and the original name for this genus was Odinia, which was named for the Greek, the Norse chief of the gods, Odin. And a few years ago, they decided that the name had to be replaced because of it was being occupied by, I think it was a beetle or something. So they named it New Odinia or Novadinia. But Novadinia is a fairly common, not common, but it is an animal that is frequently encountered on tropical Atlantic reefs. Novadinia antilensis. This one could be one of 3 species, maybe Novadinia pacifica or something like that. So, but they're a shallower water genus, which is why I can recognize them so readily. When you get into deeper waters, they're a little more difficult to identify from video.
All right, just getting situated here.
Great, thank you. This looks like it's a really productive area in terms of the precious corals, and we just saw an onaga swim by. So that's a long-tailed snapper, long-tailed red snapper.
Bottom of that rock.
Could be
one of the more valuable of the commercial fish species. So our depth is 453 meters.
We're about 11 meters up above the bottom at the moment. We're getting a change of
crew change for the ROV
shift
crew.
For the ROV crew, right?
Yep.
So once everybody's got themselves all settled in, we'll be back on the bottom and looking at these critters.
Back on the bottom and moving our way up.
And looking at these critters.
And looking at
these rocks.
Oh yeah, the rocks, of course.
I'm just amazed by these
really,
steep drop-offs.
Yeah, that's really
cool.
There
overhangs.
And tomorrow's going to be very cool, too, because we're going to be in a steep area, too.
People, don't forget.
Hadal Ridge.
Tomorrow we are diving on the inner slope of the Mariana Trench, deepest trench in the world's oceans. Although this is not the deepest place that we'll be diving in.
Okay,
just in case anybody doesn't know, right? That's the Challenger Deep,
and that's located where? Further south, right?
Yeah, that's located south and west of Guam. So the trench actually kind of makes an arc in the Western Pacific, swinging
copy that video.
kind of.
I will make my
actually,
way
the
there.
whole of the Mariana system is kind of shaped like a banana that is curved with its inner curve facing westward toward mainland China. And down at the very southern tip, it curves around west toward the islands of Yap and Palau. And that area along the southern part of the Mariana Trench is actually the deepest part of the trench. Deepest part is in the Challenger Deep.
There are only 3 human beings have ever gone.
That's right. Yeah, the Trieste dove in 1960. That was a U.S. Navy bath escape.
Right.
Right, and it has a little personnel ball hanging beneath this big thing that looked like a dirigible. And the guys, that was
a gas-filled dirigible.
Yeah. And that was
these are
Don Walsh. He was a lieutenant at that time, the U.S. participant, and the son, Jacques Picard, of the man who actually designed the bath escape.
Okay, so we're zooming in now on actually 3 sponges.
Beautiful sponges.
Really, really nice. You can see the
Are they all the same?
The 2 lower ones are the same. And
the little ball
up at the top. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think they're all closely related.
They look like it. At least the surface has the same kind of little bumps on it.
Am I all zoomed out on Siriuscam?
But I'm thinking that these could be geodeids, but I don't think so. I think they're a related species, whereas the the ball sponge up above it is most likely a geodeid. So again, demo sponges that have spicules, microscopic skeletal elements made out of silica. We haven't seen any hexactinellate. We haven't seen that many hexactinellate sponges at all.
How awful!
Yeah.
So Shirley, I know you work on sponges in part to help the pharmaceutical companies.
Drug discovery. Yeah, a lot of these sponges produce chemicals that they use for a variety of reasons, most of which we don't know.
Scare off predators,
sometimes to inhibit predation, sometimes to signal other individuals of the same species, hey, I'm over here, to prevent things from growing over top of them. And these same chemicals are the ones that we're using to develop drugs that can treat diseases like cancer and infectious diseases, diseases of the immune system, Alzheimer's, and so on. Okay.
Right.
Yep, we're
just drifting back a little bit, so I'll get a little closer.
There's a very interesting image in the Sirius view that what we are actually looking at is much lighter in color than the rocks down below. Partly that's because the lights are shining on it.
Lighting, I think.
But the animals clustered on this make it much more highly reflective.
All right, video. If you want to come in, just let me know which part you want.
I think we're happy with this.
So Bob
Awesome.
Stern is joining us, and he made a comment about why the dive today is a lot richer biologically than yesterday's.
Go ahead.
And his explanation is that Pagan is an active volcano, so the seafloor that we dived on yesterday is very young.
I think I'm pointed
Maug is an extinct volcano, so the surface is much older. Bob guesses that the seafloor yesterday was less than 1,000 years old, and the seafloor we're looking at now is less than 10,000 years old. So there's been a lot more time for colonization and growth at Maug than at Pagan, where we dove yesterday.
Thanks, you, Bob. And welcome. Bob is from the University of Texas, Dallas, in Richardson.
Nice geology reference.
You said turn left, correct, Leah?
Yes, left and right, and just show them with.
Okay.
So just imagine, folks, we've got people scattered all across the lower 48. I don't know if we have anybody from Alaska, do we? Don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure hoping that there are people up in Alaska watching us, but this means that, time zones from Guam to the East Coast to Russia, people are
Japan
up late at night.
Japan
watching.
seems, I think Osaka is okay because it's a little bit
it's similar
earlier.
time.
That's the other, pretty close to the time.
So
but
that's the left side.
Now we are seeing a very interesting feature on the left-hand side that is a vertical collection of rocks. I'm wondering if that could be a dike, and a dike is a more or less vertical magmatic body that is injected into a crack in the edifice of a volcano. When I got a chance to go into the caldera, the interior crater of Maug Island, back when I was a grad student, we saw a lot of vertical promontories that basically were the remains of dikes, or these vertical columns of lava that get squirted into the side fractures in the walls of the volcano. And these tend to be
my Z-bias has been
lavas that cool underground, and they release all their gases, so they don't have a lot of holes in them, so they're resistant to weathering and erosion. So they often remain as the prominences on the walls of the caldera. You may see these at any volcano that anybody might visit.
I'll move you closer.
Copy that.
Definitely.
That's good.
Yeah, 11 when he's so far away isn't good.
Just camera tilt down.
I want to just take a moment to wish all you dads out there a happy Father's Day.
Yes.
It's Monday out here in Guam, but for those of you who are in Hawaii and the lower 48 and mainland U.S. And beyond, I wanted to wish you a very happy Father's Day. And thank you for joining us on a day that I'm sure your children would like to spend with you.
No, I think it's just the...
So bring them on as well.
Right.
Floating up.
Copy.
I don't think it's you.
Possible fish, possible squid, lasers
Bridge,
left.
this is Nav.
Lasers left. The real tiny guy video?
Shiny thing. It's just far away from you.
Nav, this bridge.
Dead center.
Hey, Bridge, we'd like a ship move. 20 meters, bearing 150.
Just far away from you.
Nav, this bridge.
Dead center.
Hey, Bridge, we'd like a ship move. 20 meters, bearing 150 at 0.2 knots.
Yeah, go for a quick zoom.
I copy 20 meters, bearing 150, 0.2.
So are those green?
Good copy, Bridge.
We have a fish.
Is that
That's
one of those green eyes?
I think so. Saw a lot of those yesterday. And the rock that we saw there, the dark sort of round rock, again looks like it's one of these chunks of whatever is below this particular site that got ripped up as the as magma erupted in what is probably a side vent on this volcano that we're diving on.
All right, video. I'm just going to see if I can get a tow real quick.
This is Bruce Bundy from National Marine Fisheries Service. That little fish was the deepwater cardinal fish, Epigonus. It's 2 dorsal fins, and it was up in the water. The green eyes stay down on the bottom. Well, now it's no longer up in the water, but it's swimming along and not scooting along the bottom like the green eyes. It also doesn't have the green color in the blotches and the reflective green eye that the green eyes have. This is a spiny rayed fish with a separate little dorsal fin composed of spines. The green eyes are soft rayed fish with a single dorsal fin.
Oh, thank you, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce. We missed you yesterday.
Oops, sorry, video.
The red dots that you see, folks at home, are from our lasers, and this gives us a scale for measuring the size of things. Those 2 dots are about 10 centimeters apart, and that is close to 4 inches.
Right above lasers. Left lasers.
Left up, maybe?
Over left edge. The fish is about to get it.
So, Shirley, what do you think that fuzzy thing is on the other side of the cliff there that we were zoomed in on?
Let me just hop closer.
I missed that. I was looking down at the chat log.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's your starboard side.
Looked like the fish found the current.
That's what it was before that heat came, but maybe it changed.
Very smooth seafloor, yeah. It looks like
stuff in the water column.
I'm not seeing much either.
That's true.
So it just slowly picked up. It got really
for people who may be joining us now, what we are intending to do toward the end of the dive and before we come back to the surface is a mid-water traverse. So we're going to go off the seafloor and examine the water column.
What was that?
Yeah, a fish, in order to try to count fish and other things in the water column. For those who are interested in doing an inventory in the mid-water.
It works, but you have to hold it in for a few seconds.
Oh, okay.
And there's no light, so it doesn't. Yeah. So a little more tether, so I'm just going to move forward.
This really smooth surface that we're looking at, I'm wondering if this is just covered with fine volcaniclastics.
And Nav, I've just been dropping targets to follow this ridge.
All right.
It kind of follows IPAC already.
Yeah, I got a new one here, ridge.
Pretty slight tilt down on HD.
Watch lead nav.
Ooh, I like the sharp cliff face. That's good.
Yeah.
No, nobody called me.
Yeah, watch lead nav. Am I supposed to be saying nav, watch lead? Oh, he can't hear.
Yeah, as soon as I
hear you.
Now you can hear me? Okay.
Up.
Yeah, can you let us know?
I can't hear you.
Can you let us know what our range is to the next waypoint?
EXWL? Or?
Watch lead, you have to hold the nav down or tap it.
Yes.
Are you
wait,
muted?
hold on a second. How about now?
There you are, yep.
Okay, thank you.
The white that's going off
Can you give us the range to our next waypoint, please?
Just,
yeah, sure.
Position video.
And if we can tilt down.
What have we here, my dear?
Yes.
We have, is this a sponge?
I don't know if it's a sponge or if it's an...
Might be a sponge. We have our world famous sponge specialist here going, I don't know if it's a sponge.
All right, video, if you want to come in.
We are 100.
And it is
no, it's an urchin.
Ha ha. Well, it kind of looks round and white.
I'll try to rotate.
That is a beautiful urchin, though.
Yeah, yeah, and then you can see in between the spines, really long tube feet.
Very long.
Mm-hmm. And we're also seeing the rock, too.
We gotta move.
Yeah, we gotta move.
Thank you for that image. Thank you for that image, Nav.
All right, video when you're ready.
So, yeah, watch leads were
a little better job on this one.
180 to waypoint 2, and then another 240 to 3.
All right, we got a book.
So 320.
All right. Thanks, Nav.
You're welcome.
Okay, video's clear. You go ahead and lift off.
So to make our waypoint,
we need to book. We need to start moving.
Start moving,
yeah, we need to start moving, or else we're not going to get up to that ridge.
Copy that, watch leads.
But we're on a ridge. But there's nothing on here much but a whole lot of ash.
Move coming now?
There's another starfish there we just passed over.
I think it's...
Yeah, what I'd like to do, pilot, is just keep moving in case we see something absolutely amazing that we haven't videoed before.
Copy that.
Like that starfish we just passed over.
Is that something video that we would like to go back for?
I don't know how closely science is watching, but nobody commented on it except for me.
No, we're...
All right, guys.
Okay, so we keep moving now.
Let's find the uphill on our sonar. This looks like Sirius is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 160.
I'm just kind of following along the edge here.
Yeah, HiPAC says 163, so that's good. We could do 30 meters at 160.
Yeah,
I like it.
Great.
Okay.
So for those of you on the chat log, as you see things that are recognizable, continue to input the codes as you've been doing. But the plan is to not stop. We need to keep moving on.
And if we can keep
we're getting we've got a good position over the bottom.
We don't want another one of those surprising us.
Yeah.
That video.
And that's right where they'll be.
We're at about 442 meters right now, and about 2.5 to 3 meters off the bottom. And as we go out over this precipice, that is going to change.
Meters, bearing 160
This is really nice topography, huh?
It's amazing.
Really nice.
Look how steep that is. This actually is an overhang.
And why? So we have to be very careful then with the deep discoverer so it doesn't get caught underneath an overhang.
Absolutely.
Let's go check the other side.
Wow.
That's interesting. The current is upslope over the ridge. Okay. Yeah, up from down below. This is a Trying to remember what the relief is on this ridge, and I will take a look.
When you did that, we have temperature changes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the spikes on the temperature probes.
Yeah.
We got a nice warm.
So the orientation of our remotely operated vehicle right now is headed toward the southeast.
Yeah.
The face of the ridge is also in that same direction.
So you couldn't hold on.
Yeah.
But there's a very, very steep drop-off to the southwest. And so as the currents move around the volcano and they meet an obstacle like this, of course the water is going to rise up.
So we had said that if we got swept away, we'd just lift up on Sirius, take autohead off Sirius if autohead was fighting too hard, which it probably would.
Yeah.
Sirius just happened to be lined up with the current.
Can we stop here for a second and back
try
up?
to turn the ROV to get 0 wraps. So in your case, you have a
barely visible
positive half.
Video lead me, whip coral.
Just if you can stop your motion.
That's a bit rougher here with, it looks like a lot of individual rocks sticking out of, and probably very heavily attached to the seafloor. So I am thinking that these again are pieces of the underlying
volcano. Sea whip. Yeah, there's a sea whip. Good eye, Roland.
Come up.
Looking at here a whip coral or a sea whip.
Oops, sorry, video. I do not have a good toe.
Yeah. It's
Sticopathes. Tina Moldova said?
Molotova.
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 Excuse me, Tina.
Try to get center it.
It's either sticopathes or stitchopathes. Sticka. Thank you.
Like stick 'em up.
Okay. You got me.
Yeah, Diva, I'm looking at my code sheet too. I'm just like, where's the code? Oh, right. ANT is, I learned that yesterday. ANT is like anthropogenic object. But I agree with you, Diva. Antipathes would be a really good one for ANT.
All right, video. I think I'm...
Look at the coiling on this thing.
A little...
It's lovely.
Yeah, somewhat stable. Try to rotate for you.
It's also a very unusual white star immediately to the left of this.
Well, we only have a little bit of time. I see Sirius getting right over me.
Yeah, I'm at 60. You got a little bit of time right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll keep a watch on it.
Show science the...
and as we pan out, as we look around at the seafloor for the geology, boy, the arcuate character of a lot of the prominences here, I think I'm going to take back what I said earlier. I'm wondering if this is indicative of pillow lava that has been encrusted over with, gee, maybe even a manganese crust over time. This may represent lava flows. I'd like a chime in from Bob or from Deb Glickson, Bob Stern or Deb Glickson. What do you guys think about the surface of the area where we're at right now?
So, Patty, this is Deb. Did you say you thought this might be pillow lava that's been encrusted over?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Either crusted over, or maybe it's an old flow field that got partially buried by ash from an eruption.
20 seconds video.
It's just that we're seeing a lot of arcuate holes in the surface as we look at the sea star.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Video.
It's a beautiful sea star.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Trying to rotate back.
I'll let you guys talk about the sea star.
Yeah, we will talk about the sea star for sure.
All right, sorry, video.
There are a lot of little coiled
That's very cool. I mean, you can see
tubes or something on right above the sea star.
Bridge enough.
That sea star is very weird. It looks like it has like kind of like a membrane in between the arms.
So Deb, as you see on the left-hand side of the screen,
now, so we have a
you can see these
we'd like to go
like little
off to
tiny
the
caves that
315.
have curved surfaces.
Looks like I'm getting to a ridge too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hesitant to say anything about them simply because we really just don't know. I mean, this, to me, this really does scream out that at some point
we're good, pilot.
An example of this type of thing if we could.
There's absolutely nothing loose, though, Deb, you know, and you know as well as I do. Can't pick up the whole mountain.
Nav, are we finished with that?
Yeah, that was a 30-meter move, and we are at 30 meters.
Copy that.
Ship just stopped.
Yes.
There's an overhang like
So I'll
that.
let you guys
Absolutely. I think it would be great to try to do that if we can find some place that has loose fragments of this that are close to an overhang. Right, absolutely.